Good morning and welcome back to your weekend unboxing here on Gaming with ADHD, where today we're going to be taking a look at Comic Hunters from Bucaneros Jogos, Arcane Wonders, and Spin Master Limited. Now, this game was designed by Robert Coelho out of Brazil, and so I've actually been kind of excited about this one for a few years. If you've been watching the channel for any length of time, you know that I spent a couple of years in Brazil as a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I know Portuguese, and so I really like Brazil. And so it's not very often where board games or other things that I enjoy have come out of Brazil and I get to experience something like that again. So this has been on my radar for a while, and I had considered trying to import it from Brazil after I found out about it, but I ended up, not doing that. And it turns out this year they did an English translation and brought it to the States. So that's what we're going to be taking a look at. The game originally released in 2020, but this English version came out in 2024. And so what we're going to do today is we're just going to get some first impressions. What do I think of the components, the rules layout, that kind of stuff. Basically just give you my first impressions right out of the box so that you have an idea if you want to go and pick this up yourself. We will come back later once I finally get a couple of plays under me, and I'll give you a review of what I think. So before we get started, do make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I try to put out a few videos each week covering all sorts of tabletop gaming content, and whether it's board games, miniatures, role-playing, or anything in between, I'd love for you to come along and see what we have to share. In addition, if this does interest you, I am going to have a link to Amazon. It is an affiliate link. It does help out the channel if you decide to order it yourself, but you're under no obligation, and we're just happy to have you here regardless. So with that said, let's take a look. All right, so first thing right off the bat that you notice, it's got some decent art that just implies a comic book store. Now, this is officially licensed by Marvel. When I first heard about it, I kind of thought that they'd been a little bit shady and just did it regardless of copyright regulations. But apparently, and I'm not talking about just the English release in the United States, but in Brazil it was fully licensed, so I was completely wrong on that one. But to bring it here to the States, Arcane Wonders actually got the license, but because it also involved getting a license with Marvel, that's why you actually see it being produced by Spin Master Games. Basically, they already had a Marvel license, and so it made it really easy for the two companies to work together. So, what is the premise of the game? You are a comic book collector, and so you're going to try and put together a collection of comic books and characters and events that you want in your collection. So essentially, it's a set building game. But that's really all I know about it so far. So overall, I like the art. It's a nice, like I said, it's a good representation of a comic book store. We've got posters, statues, everybody with their comic t-shirts. So pretty cool. All right, let's go ahead and open this up. All right, first up, we get our instruction book, which is actually on some fairly heavy-duty paper. It's stitched instead of stapled, which I think is a really interesting mix. The text is a little... it's on the average side. It's fine. Okay, that is actually a little bit well, I won't say disturbing, but I don't like when... so this is a 2 to 4 player game, or 1 to 4 player game, I should say. So you can play it solo. I understand having to make some alternate rules for solo games, but it does kind of bother me when you get a 2-player game and essentially you're having to alter the rules. Like the fact that they have a whole rule section for 2 players is a little annoying, because essentially to me that says that you're essentially playing 2 different games. So anyway, so back to looking at rules, we've got just a breakdown of the components, how to set up the game, a reference page, which I would have much preferred if they put the reference page here on the back as well, not just here in the front or within the text, because this is probably something I'm going to want to reference while I'm playing the game. Obviously, it's a reference page. We then get into how to play. So these rules are for 3 to 4 players. You're going to be able to go to the store, the flea market, an auction website, or a comic book convention. You then put your collection together and score your points. Look, it's a rule book. All right. All right. We then have the board. Wow, this is stiff. So that'll make it hard to lay flat, but it should be fine. It was kind of funny. The first time that I saw this, I was at Dice Tower West. And I knew the game was Portuguese, or in Portuguese, because it's from Brazil. But the Dice Tower had actually made stickers to put over top of the board so that everything was in English instead. So I thought that was kind of funny. Yeah, I mean, nice, clear, easy to read. It's not very big. I would probably like it a little bit bigger, especially if you're playing across a game table. It can look a little small, so there's that. An interesting packet for the tokens. I'm kind of curious why they're in a packet as opposed to just being laid in the box, but whatever. All right. So, rather thin for the cardboard for the tokens, but otherwise the printing looks fine. It's definitely thin. I would want tokens at least about double the thickness, but it's not horrible. I've gotten some stuff recently that's even thinner than this, so it's not great, but I've definitely seen worse. So tokens. All right, we've got cards in just some paper bands. All right, now I did do a little bit of research on this one, mostly because I had heard that there were some printing issues. So you do want to be aware of that, but I'm not sure. I mean, so far I haven't seen any. So at least for this set of cards, everything actually looks nice and clean. The cards are really, like, a really nice print, really good quality. Cards seem fine. I would have preferred like a linen finish, but that's because I'm picky. But it's a nice matte finish, so it's also not even like super glossy. But lots of great comic book covers. They've got dates, so which one it is, things like that. So just make it, yeah, there's nothing underneath there, so yeah, so basically it's just a bunch of cards. Okay, so we've got Era 2, so now we're getting into older cards. So these are like the 80s and 90s. Again, still all the same covers. I really do like that they're using... I just realized I probably should have zoomed in while looking at these. Sorry, folks. Some just like great classic covers. I like that. Cool. And then deck number 3. And so this is all older stuff, so 60s and 70s. Again, great art. I always like this one. I love old school Iron Man. New Iron Man is cool, but for some reason, just like the old school red and gold, you know, built in the jungles of Vietnam Iron Man. Anyways, great. This is perfect. I don't have any problems with this production. Um, let's see. All right, we've got a little score sheet. All right, not double sided. A little disappointing there. Um, I would have liked to have at least it double sided so that way you could reuse them. But so then you're going to score based on collection size, variety, and your secret stash. First, second, third highlight, total it up. So like I said, set collection, deck building ish. Only thing I would have really liked is if they'd given me a plastic bag for the tokens. But otherwise, I don't see anything to complain about here. This is, like I said, there were quite a few. It may have been just an early print run or something, but as of at least right now, I don't see any issues with this. Now I picked mine up at Barnes and Noble. It was $24.99. Basically, I saw it in the store, so just grabbed it. So maybe they have some more. But yeah, other than that, I've always been a big fan of comic books. Iron Man is my second favorite character after Batman. But you know, you might notice a theme there. So so yeah, I'm excited to be able to get this to the table. I've wanted the game, like I said, since I found out about it, but especially now that I don't have to, you know, try and get people to read the rules in Portuguese or have to read them all myself. I'm kind of excited about that. So with that said, what do you think? Have you played this? Have you given it a try? Am I in for a treat? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Appreciate your time. If you enjoyed it, please do give it a thumbs up. But otherwise, we'll talk to you next time.